Hey everyone, I'm back with another little video here I wanted to make. So, as you can see, I have the Bad Guys 2 novelization here I read. I saw the movie twice. Sorry, excuse me. And I said, I really enjoyed this movie. I enjoyed the book. I knew I was going to enjoy the movie, and I really enjoyed I really enjoyed the movie, and I even like it better than the first one, I think, which I still like the first one, but I think this was a much bigger improvement over it. It was funnier, more clever, more heart, more stakes. I just wish the box office was better for some reason. I don't know why it's so low, but if you haven't seen it yet, I'd recommend seeing it when it's playing in theaters, because I really hope we get a third movie, or at least a mini series. But I'd rather have a third movie. But anyway, I'm going off topic for now. I'll do maybe a full review of the story some other time. But anyway, so when I saw the movie, so a few things stood out to me. So you know how sometimes from the book to the movie they change some stuff around. Well, I couldn't help but notice a few little alterations compared to the book to the movie. I mean, I know other ones like Home Alone 2, Jumanji had some differences, but I just thought this is interesting. I just thought I'd share them with you just to see. So first one I recognized is here on page 43. You'll see this part there. Shark filleted his fin and knocked the chief out cold. The other stared at him dumbfounded. What was that? Piranha shrieked. Now, it's interesting here because you notice how it's Piranha saying, what was that? In the movie, well, I first recognized it on the TV spot. It's Wolf in the movie saying, what was that, instead of Piranha, which I find that interesting that in the book, in the original script here, this version at least, this early draft, how they had Piranha say it. However, in the movie, it's Wolf saying it. So that's kind of interesting that they changed the person or character saying the line, which, you know, I'll say the way Sam Rockwell delivered that line, though, what was that? I'll admit it is quite funny because he gives off like a voice crack when he does it. So that is kind of funny. Anthony Ramos, I'm sure he would have delivered the line pretty funny because I said he is, you know, he can have that comedic timing, but maybe they thought Rockwell saying it would be funnier. I don't know. Just find that interesting that they kept the line, but they changed the character saying it. Then another difference is you have to go all the way back here to page 102. 102 here. You'll see this line here. Now, I've seen the movie twice, and I kind of forgot the scene this was supposed to take place in. It's right after the mild spoiler alert. It's after the bad guys work with the bad girls. You'll notice this line here. Is our lives before were kind of Wolf began. Sucky Piranha finished for him. You know, well, that's a strong word, but today was, you know, not sucky Piranha finished for him again. Interesting, the word sucky is not in the movie at all. Now, I know it's probably like an impolite term to use, obviously. Maybe that's why they didn't keep it in. However, it's kind of interesting considering in the last year's Wild Robot movie, which is also DreamWorks, the Fox character Fink used the word sucked. And obviously, both these movies are PG anyway. I know Puss in Boots 2 had him saying the word hell. I think, and then there were some bleeped out terms that were funny, but really Puss in Boots 2, that was like the one like profane word you did hear, I think, was the word hell. Yeah. But, and then I said in Wild Robot Fink using the word suck. I find this interesting. Like, you see, like, I forget how this exchange went in the movie. I'd have to see it again. I know I've seen it twice. I know, you know, I didn't catch what was said here instead, but I just find that interesting that they took out the word here. Like I said, I forget what Piranha said in the actual scene in the movie, but I find it interesting that maybe they thought this term, the way it's used here, the word sucky, maybe they thought it was too crass of a Maybe they thought it was more crass than the original word suck. Maybe they thought it was this version of the word was more crass, possibly. Maybe that's why they didn't keep it in the final product of the movie, but I don't know. I find that interesting. And then the final change I noticed was on page 144. Again, mild spoilers alert for anyone that hasn't read the book or seen the movie. This is especially a spoiler part here. Might be another one, but I can't 100% say. But anyway, this is one I did notice. Am I on the right page? Oh, wait, actually, it's right here. Oh, here it is here, I think. In the, we're going to land this thing or die trying. In the movie, however, Wolf doesn't even get to finish the word trying, I think. He just says, we're going to die try, and then the scene cuts comedically to their quote-unquote fake funerals, because I find it interesting. The book has him finish the word, the movie doesn't, which I actually find that funnier. I find it funnier that he doesn't even finish the word before the jump cut happens. Yeah, I find that just funnier. There's something else I noticed here, too. Another thing I noticed here, the scene when Snake and Doom, or Susan in this scene, kiss. The flashback scene with the guinea pig. Finished the story, Snake and Susan dove into a passionate kiss, which make the others in the car want to retch. In the book, it looks like it plays in real time, like they kiss each other. In the movie, however, as soon as they're telling the story, it immediately jump cuts to them already kissing, which, you know, I kind of like this change. I think it's funnier having immediately jump cut to them already kissing. I think that's just a better comedic timing. I think it's overall funnier, too. So I can understand why they changed that. I think it works better than what they went with. And then we get here the final thing I noticed was after you find out, spoiler alert, that the bad guys survived, it describes their injuries. And this is interesting here. Shark's head was bandaged. Wolf's arm was wrapped in a sling. Snake was trapped inside a neck brace. They were battered but very much alive. This is interesting because it says Shark's head was bandaged. In the movie, however, his head is not actually bandaged. All he has, I think, was a bandage on his nose? Yeah, on his nose. And then it says Wolf's arm was wrapped in a sling. His arm was not in a sling in the movie. He just also had, I think... Did he have a bandage also only? Yeah, his arm was definitely not in a sling, so I find that interesting. Snake was trapped inside a neck brace. I think they did keep that, from what I remember. And also, it's interesting that this book also doesn't mention Diane's injury. I think she just had a bandage on her ear, which at least the movie clarified what her injury was, which was nice. You know, at least it clarified that. Speaking of which, I just find this interesting that the injuries here ended up differing from the actual product, which I don't know why. I mean, I don't see anything problematic just describing the injuries. I don't think it's anything too brutal, I think, for a PG movie. I don't know. Oh, I almost forgot. This scene here says, footage was shifted to show Kitty and the girls being arrested next to a shuttle escape pod in the middle of the desert, tossed into a van, hauled off to their prison sentences. Now, even when I read this book, I will admit when I read the book that I was kind of left a little hanging. I didn't like because it wasn't clear what happened to them after they got arrested. I mean, the movie, however, at least clarifies it. It shows Kitty, spoiler alert, shows her in a prison cell. Doom and Pigtail are doing community service, you know, because if you see in the movie, they kind of turn good and they help the bad guys in the end, because then Kitty just goes full-blown villain. And then also, The movie, at least, it properly, in a way, gives a little closure to Snake and Doom, because in the movie, as Doom's doing community service, she comes across a little makeshift shrine that Snake made for her, and she sees one of the face pins that's usually on his hat, and she picks it up, I guess, as a little, he left it for her as a little memento, I suppose, to give indication that, you know, he's still alive, which I thought was a nice little gesture, which I'll admit I do like this change, because the book, like I said, it's kind of vague what happens to them. It just says, you know, hold off for their prison sentences. But the movie, at least it makes it more clear, showing that, it makes it more clear, showing what exactly happened to them after they got arrested, which I'll give credit. At least, you know, people sometimes say, oh, the book's always better. Well, I mean, is that always true? I mean, in my opinion, I think this improves it, because the movie at least gives more clarification of what happened to the bad girls after the ending, which, yeah, I actually like this better, I think, because I think this was a better improvement. It's kind of like, to give a little off example, spoiler alert, for anyone who hasn't read Harry Potter, in the book, Harry breaks the Elder Wand. No, wait, no, I'm getting mixed up, sorry. In the book, Harry places the wand in Dumbledore's tomb, which I always had a problem with, because I'm like, this thing can get easily stolen. Voldemort already stole it. Who's to prevent it from stealing it again? And then Harry says, like, oh, as long as I die a natural death, it'll be fine. But I'm like, you don't know that. I'm like, why put it somewhere that you know can fall into the wrong hands? And the Elder Wand caused a lot of deaths and all that. The movie, however, makes it make more sense. Harry just snaps the wand and throws it off the cliff, which I, like so many people, actually prefer the movie version, which I think it makes more sense narratively, knowing that by him destroying the wand, its power is forever terminated. Its power is gone forever, which makes a lot more sense, and it's a little callback to even the first Harry Potter story, when Dumbledore destroys the Sorcerer's Stone, because it already once fell into the wrong hands. So I think the movie, it was like a nice little, I think in my opinion, a nice little callback to the first story, which, anyway, I'm going a little off topic here. I just want to make my thoughts known here about some of the changes I noticed from the bad guys to Novelization. I think that's it. Yeah, the bad guys to Novelization compared to the movie. So let me know what you guys think, and below what you think about these different versions of scenes here. I'm gonna get going. Catch you guys later. Bye.